This is Paul Klee. He was born in 1879 in Switzerland. Paul's parents were both musicians, and at a young age he became an extraordinary violinist. But in his teenage years, he decided he was going to follow his passion for art. He was inspired by color, shapes, and lines. Paul Klee said, "Color and I are one. I am a painter." As you can see in most of his artwork, it shows his connection with lines and color. My favorite Paul Klee quote is, "A line is a dot that went for a walk." So today, we're going to take Paul Klee's advice. We are going to take a dot for a walk. Okay, so for our walk, you're going to need a black oil pastel and a piece of watercolor paper for the first step. So the first step, we are going to start at the top with our oil pastel, and as we go on our walk, we are going to move as we are describing our walk. So lines can make lots of different things. They can be straight, they can be sideways on an angle. As you're going for a walk, they can go around things, around big things, making a swirl. If you're jumping or running, you could be zigzag or bumpy. If you're walking along, you can be going back and forth. So as you're walking, I want you to kind of imagine what your body would be doing as if you're going on this walk. So this is kind of what it's going to look like for the first part. We're going to start at the top, and as you can see, I have not picked up my oil pastel. So the line is continuous. I don't pick it up and start in a new spot. So we're going to take our time, we're going to go slow, and we're going to go for a walk and create a line that describes the walk that we've been on. And after we're done with our walk, we're going to do 3 different walks. Then we're going to take our watercolors and we're going to add lots of color, just as Paul Klee would have wanted. So I'm going to kind of show you an example of what we're going to do. So we're going to start at the top of our paper, and if we were just going to go for a walk in a park, we would follow along on the path and take a look around and see what we can see. And oh, we saw a squirrel. Oh, let's chase after him. Oh, he's zigzagging all over the park. Oh my goodness. Oh, and then he went up a tree. So let's go over to the tree and let's walk around the tree and see if we can see the squirrel where he ended up. I don't see him. So let's keep walking on the path and see what else we can see. I can hear birds chirping. I can see the leaves and the sun and clouds. And we're walking along. Oh, I see a crack in the sidewalk. I'm going to jump over that, and the next one, and the next one, just for fun. And we're going to keep walking all the way down to the end of the path. So as you can see, we started at the top. The line didn't ever stop. It just continued on, but it did different things depending on what we were doing on our walk. And this is what we're going to create today. So when you have your oil pastel and your watercolor paper, we'll get started. Okay, so let's get started. Let's go on our first walk. So when we're walking, we are going to go very slowly. It's not a run. We're just going kind of on a nice, easy, fun walk. So I want you to start at the top of your paper, and we're going to go on 3 walks today. So if I go on my first walk over here, I'm not going to have very much room to do 2 more walks. So I want you to be on like this third of the paper. You got to give your room a little space in case we walk to the left and walk to the right. but we gotta have space for all 3 of our walks. So I'm gonna start at the top of my paper, right there. And we're just gonna go slow. I'm gonna take my oil pastel and I'm not going to pick it up. So it's gonna be one big continuous line. So we're not stopping, we're just taking a walk. So let's start first. Let's just go outside at your school. So we're gonna go out the door and we're gonna turn left. We're gonna go down the hall and then the hall turns to the left. Oh, and there's the door to go outside. Go through the door. Ooh, look what a beautiful day it is. Let's keep walking. Ooh, I see a swing set. Oh, the playground. Let's go down the slide. So let's walk over to the playground and go up the steps to the top of the slide. And once we're at the top, we're gonna go down the slide. Whee! All the way to the bottom. Oh my gosh, that's so much fun. All right, such a beautiful day. Let's walk over to this tree and we'll walk around the tree and check it out. See if there's any leaves growing, any pine cones, any squirrels or bugs or anything cool. We're gonna walk all the way around the tree. All right, now let's walk farther down. You know what we should do? There's that grassy hill behind the playground. Let's walk over there and we're gonna go up, up, up the hill, all the way to the top of that grassy hill. And when we get to the top, what are we gonna do? I think we should roll all the way down. So lay down on your side like a log and go all the way down, rolling, rolling, rolling to the bottom of your paper in the bottom of the hill. All right, that was fun. Okay, now for the next walk, I want to walk. Let's take a trail. Let's go in the mountains and we're going to follow a river. So you can hear some water. All right. Now we're going to go to the top of the mountain. So I want you to start at the bottom of your paper this time. So we are going to be right in the middle of our paper at the very bottom. So let's get started. We're going to jump on this trail right here. And when you're going up a trail, usually they have switchbacks to get there a little easier. So we're going to go to the right, and we're turning, we're going to go to the left. And we're going to kind of listen to the water crashing into the rocks and the birds. Ooh, and there's a wildflower. Let's stop and smell that wildflower. Oh my gosh, that smells so good. And let's keep walking. What a beautiful day. I hear the birds chirping. I hear the wind blowing. Ooh, I see a really big rock coming up on the side of the trail. Let's climb up that big rock. So I'm going to walk over to it. I'm going to put my foot right there, and I'm going to pull myself up. I'm going to put my other foot on a little spot there, and I'm going to pull myself up. Ooh, and another spot I can see to get me to all the way to the top of the rock. And at the top of the rock, I'm going to turn my oil pastel and I'm going to look around. Because when you're on top of a rock, you can see really far. So I'm going to look around and see what I can see. Lots of trees and nature, and wow, I feel really big up here. All right, so let's continue on our trail. I want you to sit down and I want you to slide back down to the bottom of the rock. And then jump back on the path, and we're going to keep walking. Walking along the path, just enjoying our beautiful day. Ooh, the river that we are walking alongside of, we need to cross this river. So I'm looking, ooh, I can see 4 big rocks that we can jump from rock to rock to get across the river. So I'd like you to jump with me. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps. Woo, we did it. I got a little bit wet, but that was so much fun, and I feel all cooled off. And we're going to keep walking on our trail. Ooh, we are almost to the top of the trail. Oh, we're going to make it one more turn. Keep walking. Now we are at the very tippy top of our mountain. When you're at the top of a mountain, you can see out really far, and you can see all the way around 360 degrees. So now I want you to turn and see what amazing things you can see. Round, all the way around, all the way to the top of your paper. Perfect. Okay, so now we have done stuff that we can do here. Maybe next we should go to the ocean. So we're going to start at the top of our paper on this one. Let me move my paper so you can see it. There we go. So this time, let's go to the ocean. Ooh, I can hear the waves. Oh, I can smell the breeze and the salty air. So let's start our paper and we're gonna go for a walk down the beach. So let's start just exploring, listening to the birds, hearing the ocean crash. Feel the hot, warm sand on our feet as we walk down the beach. Oh, my feet are getting a little hot. Let's go closer to the water. When you get closer to the water, the sand is a little cooler. Ooh, and the waves are pushing the water up onto the sand. So let's run and try not to get wet. And then when the waves roll out, you can follow it back out to the ocean. And then, oh, here comes a wave. Let's run back. And then forth as the waves roll in and out. You know what? I would love to run and jump in this water. Let's run and jump. Run and jump in this water. Oh my gosh, it feels so good. I need to cool my feet down. On the beach, I think we should go look for some shells too. Let's walk down the beach. Ooh, I see a shell. I see 3 shells right ahead. I'm going to walk around the shells and look at them. I don't want to step on them, they'll break. So we're going to walk around the shells. Ooh, there's the second shell. I'm going to walk around the second shell and take a look and see what it looks like. Wow, these are so pretty. Ooh, and my third shell, I'm going to walk around him and see what he looks like. So much fun. Now we're going to keep walking down the beach. Oh, there's some stairs right over there. Let's take those stairs down, down, down to the end of our paper. Okay. So now we have 3 lines that we took for a walk. Now I want you to look at your paper and see if there's any lines that need to be a little darker. When we paint, the black resists the watercolors, but the darker the line, the more it'll stand out. So I'd like you to take a look at your lines that you drew, and if they're not drawn very dark in spots, I'd like you to go through and take a minute and make the lines really dark to give it some contrast. Let's see. I missed a few spots. I was having so much fun on our walk. So I'm going to go over and make sure all of my lines are dark. That one needs to be darkened a little bit. That one looks really good. And follow my line. Yep. This one definitely needs some work. So go through your lines to make sure that they are dark. If they get a little wider, that's okay. You'll just see them a little bit better. Okay. There we go. One more spot. Okay, love it. These look very good. So our next step is going to be, what do you think Paul Klee would do next? I think Paul Klee would add colors, because he loved color. Colors and lines were his favorite thing. So next we're going to add color. I want you to get your watercolors and a cup of water, a paper towel, and you should have a paintbrush in with your watercolors. And when everybody is ready and on this step, we're gonna paint. Okay, now we are ready to paint. The first thing that we need to do before we paint is to flip our paper over and write our names on the back, because I really want to see what you create, and if I don't have a name, I don't know who did it. So and your teacher's name also would be great. So once you've got your paper towel and your colors, we're going to kind of go over, we've talked about this before, but I want to kind of go over it again. You want to start with your lighter colors if possible, because when you start to go into your darker colors, your water gets really dark and kind of mucky. So your yellow will be kind of a brownish yellow. So if you need to or want to go back to your yellow later on, you want to rinse your brush and your sink really well, get some new water that's clear, and then you can go back to yellow. But start with your lighter colors if possible. On this one, I kind of made some dark and some light colors just to kind of show you the difference. Yellow. So, you know, purple, blue, green, red, orange, these are kind of the darker. And so the darkers are less water. So my paintbrush was a lot drier. So I put a tiny bit of water in my color, and then the color came out really dark. Now, if I want to lighten up my color, or I want to start with a light color, I will use more water. If you have a really dark spot on your paper and you want to lighten it up, just put some water on it and spread it around, and it will move and lighten up that color. The cool thing about watercolors is even if it dries, you can always change it, and you can always add layers on top of it. So if you get too much water on your paper, that's another good thing you can use your paper towel for. So if you have too much water on your paper, just dab it off. And if you have too much color on your paper, you can also use, if it's wet, you can also pull some color off with your paper towel also. Your paper towel is very good in between switching colors. So you get your paintbrush wet and kind of brush off the colors to go in between. On this one, I kind of blended my colors. I love like a blue-green. So what I did was I mixed my blue and my green on my paper. I did a little bit of blue and a little bit of green, and then I took some water and I just mixed them all together on my paper. You can mix them on the side of your paints also, but I like to do it just on my paper. Kind of gives me, you can see where there's some blues and some greens. It's kind of just all over. Kind of gives it a little more personality. You can stay with your solid colors. If you want to mix them, then great. You guys get to do whatever you want with these. On this one, I painted one side red and one side orange, and I kind of collided them in the middle just to give a little bit of orange inside my red. And I did some lighter reds, so it's almost kind of like pink and light orange. And there's so many variations with watercolors, and it gives so much depth. Even your brush strokes, has some dimension to it. Watercolors are so much fun. So just start going and be as creative as you want to. When you go with your colors, a little bit of water, you want to be careful about going into the other colors. So you want to give yourself kind of a buffer or a border. So if you start with around your line here, kind of like if you're coloring, and then kind of work out. When you're coloring like this big area, you can be a little more crazy. But when you're right next to the line, you want to be a little slower and take your time to make sure that you stay on that side of the paper. On this one, my paintbrush was really wet, so my red kind of bled into my yellow that I had already done. And here, my brush was really wet, and my blue, the paper will pull the water across that line. The oil pastel will resist the line, but it will go under, the paper will pull it through. So just be mindful when you are drawing. Kind of give yourself a border on the outside, and then when you're in these big spaces, then you can do your big brush strokes and be really creative. So take your time and do a good job. If you feel like you have too much color, again, you can dab it a little bit and you can add some water. And you can pull the color pretty much all across your paper. So if I have a lot of color up here and I want it really light, I can just get my paintbrush wet and I can just pull the color wherever I want it to go. And it's going to get lighter and lighter as I get down to the bottom of my paper. So there it is. You guys are ready to put your Paul Klee hat on and create a beautiful design in these beautiful lines. So when you are all done, put it on the drying rack so we can get them mounted. All right, I can't wait to see what you guys did.